Hello, friends. My name is Chloe Kleeman, and welcome back to my commentary of 31 Days of Black Ranger's
You may
30th
have noticed
birthday.
that we love bad games on this channel,
31st
whether they
birthday.
are so bad they're good or just plain awful. We
But
can't help but
that's
be
gonna
fascinated
be
by the worst that the
awful
medium
one.
has to offer. And
So
yet,
we are going to
allow
take
me to
a
blow your
look
mind.
at the
We
best
enjoy
games
good
of the
as
year
well.
in
Oh yes,
2000.
it's true. And we thought we'd take a trip through history today to
That's
celebrate
a
the
2000
absolute cream
decade.
of the crop from the dawn of this millennium. So shield your eyes,
Still got a
folks.
millennium
Velour
off to
tracksuits
come
and
in
frosted
way.
tips abound. 2000 was the year of the Millennium Dome. Brad and Jen, Big Brother, and, well, at least the games were good, so let's focus on those. As always, titles with
Still
fewer than
wondering
7
supposed to be a
reviews
game,
were omitted,
looks
leaving
like,
us with the 10
but
highest scoring games of the
definitely
year
a
according
cool
to
avatar.
Metacritic. And while everyone is going to have their own personal opinions with a list like this, it's not too difficult to agree that the critics knew quality when they saw it.
I know
I'm
the
Ben
game
from
is
Triple
so
Jump, and here are the 10
dedicated this
best reviewed
time.
games of 2000. Number 10. SSX, PlayStation 2, 93%. Snowboarding masterpiece SSX
This is definitely
wowed players
the
and
best
critics
game of
alike
my
with its
mind.
vast
It's
courses,
the,
awesome multiplayer
some
modes, and overall ability to make you feel like an
snowboarding.
absolute adrenaline-fueled badass. To be honest, it's
This
shocking
is
how diverse the 8
definitely
courses are,
like
particularly
this
when you
game.
consider the hardware. EA
There's
managed to
a
crown
lot
a
of
mountain
snowflakes out there.
of sheer epicness.
No wonder it's supposed to
It isn't
acting
just
anyway.
snowy slope followed by snowy slope. The designers clearly let their
Still living
imaginations
and
run
coming on the
wild, and it
snow
leads to
is
a
without
brilliantly
them
fun
all.
experience.
That's
Range
giving
from
me
frosty
some
cities to a giant
blizzardy
pinball machine to an
ideas what
iceberg
you're
that
talking
casually
about.
floats in a Hawaiian harbour. Also, there was a surprising amount of replayability. It wasn't just a matter
I
of
still
simply
like
sliding
it.
from the top to the bottom of the
I
course.
guess
No,
it's a pretty
siree.
much
There are many
exactly
hidden
the way it
shortcuts to
is.
discover, as well as a plethora of stunts and tricks to master.
Ooh,
From the tracks at breakneck
very
speeds. Terrific
insane.
soundtrack, slick gameplay, rewarding progression. SSX really stomped the landing on this one.
That's
Number
like
9.
it.
Resident Evil Code Veronica, Dreamcast, 94%. This installment in the Resident Evil franchise, in hindsight,
Still
could be seen as the
definitely
awkward middle
a
child.
Resident
It
Evil
existed in
fan.
the
I'm not
evolutionary
gonna do
transition between its
Resident
first
Evil
shuffling
and all,
steps on the PlayStation and the
but
more
that's
action
definitely
titles
not
of later
bad
years.
this
It was the
time.
first one to forego those pre-rendered backgrounds, yet still
No
kept
matter
an undead death
exactly
grip on
that
semi-fixed
the
camera angles and
problem
stiff controls.
supposed to
And
be in
yet,
my
all of it works
brains.
so well
But
that it
till
never feels like the
dawn,
half step forward
all
it
right.
seems to be. It's still one of the best games in the entire series, remembered fondly by pretty much anyone who isn't Capcom. The overall presentation is
Ooh,
remarkable,
Capcom.
from visuals,
Is it
music,
some
and
kind of
sound to
Mega
the
Man games
all-important
or some
narrative
point?
progression.
But
And
I'm
speaking of the
agreeing
story,
to do
it's got as
that
many twists and
anyways.
turns as a DNA
You
strand
like
that's
to
undergone
join
some
some of the
serious
games that
mutations
include
in an
this
umbrella
one,
laboratory.
but
Somehow it manages to
you
be
gotta
both
tell
spooky
her
and
about
beautiful
this
in a way that only
time.
Morticia Adams can surpass. It is truly a testament to the Dreamcast's reputation as home to
That's definitely a
unforgettable titles, and it
revolution.
is a must-play for anyone even remotely appreciative of the
Still
iconic
got the
survival
guns?
horror series. Frankly,
Man,
it's
that
so
hurts
good,
a lot.
scary. Number 8. Jet Radio, Dreamcast, 94%. If there's one thing you
I
can
know
say
Jet
about the
Set
Triple
Radio's
Jump team, it's that
supposed
we're
to be
pretty
a
dang street in italics.
street
You know,
time.
really hippity happening folks over
Still
here.
got the
So
modern
it almost
days,
seems
what's
like a
it
game
for
about
days?
rollerblading
There's
street gangs,
beat,
sticking it to the man
tab,
via the rad medium of
and
spray painting was basically
still
made
introduced
for
to
us.
the
Essentially,
headquarters.
my typical Sunday afternoon.
I
There were
like that
some
one!
absolute gems that released in 2000. That's sort of the point of this list, if you've forgotten. But Jet Set Radio, or Jet Grind Radio, if you want to get American and confusing about this, was arguably
Still
the
got the
most
true
original and
America's
distinct
coming your
title of the
true.
entire year. First and foremost, the
Wow,
visuals were
you got
ridiculously
some
fresh, and the
days,
cell
some
shading
reason
worked
what
darn
you're
well with
talking
regards
about.
to gameplay and narrative. But it didn't just look good, it played great. The controls were intuitive, the soundtrack was
Still living in
banging, and the level
hip-hops.
design was just plain awesome. Overall, it delivered both style and substance in an innovative package, resulting
Maybe
in a
someday
great
what you're
gaming
talking
experience. It may have lost a few points for some dodgy camera positioning, but that's definitely not enough to stop Metacritic from stamping it with its gold seal of approval, the Must Play Award. Number 7. Chrono Cross, PlayStation, 94%. Chrono Cross has an undeniably
Chrono Cross is
prestigious
supposed to be a
pedigree. After all, the
best day of
storyline
my
was developed by none other than the creator of
But
Chrono
that's a
Trigger and
phooey thing to this
Xenogears.
time.
It boasted multiple scenarios linked via an ambitious core story thread and numerous endings that could result in entirely new adventures
definitely
for
a
each
follower.
playthrough. Although it may not have had the worldwide
Oh,
popularity of
let's
the Final
get a
Fantasy
fight
franchise, many
monsters.
players and critics can agree that both Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross are among the best
ultimately
RPGs
good
of all
times,
time. Square took extra care to ensure that its 40-plus playable characters all possessed different characteristics, accents, and speech
That's
patterns.
definitely
Really
like
goes to
it.
show that nothing was given the cookie-cutter treatment here. Instead, the entire thing is crafted with passion and detail, suitably earning it high acclaim across the board. The stellar graphics,
no
music,
wonder he's supposed
gameplay,
to
and
acting
storyline
anyways.
unsurprisingly cemented Chrono Cross in the tapestry
Did
of
you enjoy
RPG
some of
history.
these
It
friendly
truly lived up
pals
to the
out
expectations of
there?
its celebrated predecessor and, in some ways, even surpassed
I guess
them.
that pretty much
Number
exactly
6.
it is.
Final Fantasy IX. PlayStation, 94%. Boy, the year 2000 was a great time for RPGs. In the last Final Fantasy,
Still
for
got
the original
RPGs,
PlayStation,
still
the
got the
series returned
players
to its
ahead.
pure fantasy roots while also adding features such as the active time event system and new mini-games. It's a quite delightful adventure that paid homage to the series origins in a way that doesn't seem cheap or cash-grabby, though it is nowadays often overshadowed by the Final Fantasy VII versus Final Fantasy VIII arguments that pervade Reddit like a poison status effect. Final Fantasy IX, however, holds its own in more ways than one. The tactical nature of the battles is particularly satisfying, and the learning curve is much more natural than some of the other titles in this franchise. Although there's a definite dark fantasy vibe, there's also tons of humor that stops things from getting too dour. The eclectic characters are likable, engaging, and sympathetic, traits which Square cleverly enhanced via the combination of a
what happened when you having good ideas now?
Feelings, motivations, and emotions.
Where
This
did
one
everybody
really
go?
revived the ambience of the older FF installments in the best
something
way
out.
possible. Didn't even need a Phoenix down to do it either, which is, that's a clever Final Fantasy joke for you there. Number 5. Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of Arm. PC, 95%. Don't be fooled by the title. We know that sounds like the noise you make when considering the risk-reward ratio of ordering a Domino's, but Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Arm
wonder it's supposed to be
universal
Domino's.
acclaim
Looks like
for,
a yummy,
among other
delicious
things, its
pizza,
stunning
but-
vastness, outstanding writing, and gorgeous graphics. Right out of the
No need to worry
gate,
about this.
it improved upon its forerunner in almost every way, delivering a fantasy
gotta
RPG
include
that was
this
remarkably
time.
polished and utterly entrancing. Some may criticize its length or complain that it was somewhat thin, but overall it provided enhanced combat,
It's
great
fantasy.
world building, and a thoughtful narrative. Hell, even the side quests were minor.
I mean, no
epics
one's
in
sort
their
of
own
like a
right.
Legend
It
of
was clearly
Zelda.
crafted to be, at the time,
But
the
I-
ultimate advanced Dungeons and Dragons role.
Whenever this supposed to get on
The
levels?
strongest adversaries, the most enthralling artifacts,
You'll be
way
able
more
to
spells,
fight
countless
something
characters,
someplace
and detailed
else?
settings that truly establish the
No matter
foundations of
exactly
the
the
game's
map
universe.
supposed
In the
to
end,
talking
BioWare
about?
didn't even need to cast Charm Person for players to succumb to this
That's
epic
exactly the
RPG
games must be
experience.
always the
Just fell in
beginning.
love with it anyway. Number 4. The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, Nintendo 64, 95%. What can we say? Majora's Mask is famously deemed
so
one of the
definitely
best
a
games
kid,
of all
like
time, so there's no
always.
surprise that it's here on this list.
That's
Although we are a
weird
little
anyways.
surprised that it didn't hit the top 3 for the year
Still
2000.
got a good
We just have to
fantasy on
wait
my
and see what
own.
pipped it to the post in 2K's knockout lineup. The concept may be simple. You've got 3
know
days to save the
exactly.
world, no pressure, but it's also handled and executed in a way
sleepy.
that's arguably never been
It's really
equaled before or
tired,
since.
huh?
Even down to a restrictive
Don't
save
morph them
system, players are
down.
both on the edge of their seats and reassured by the semblance of control over the passage of time. It's perfectly balanced in its ability to push the
That's
player
still
forward while also
definitely the
letting them
time
relish the
to
experience.
go.
Nothing is rushed. Everything is savoured without the
That
risk of it going
Alpha
stale,
Man is
and
supposed to
yet
be
it
a
still
fight
demands both
now.
attention and affection. And rightly so. It is artfully realised and designed in a way that makes it a resolutely iconic
Still got a
facet
piece of
of gaming
heart.
history. Honestly,
Still
it's just no
got a
masking
mystery
experience.
to solve.
Number 3. NFL 2K1 Dreamcast, 97%. While NFL 2K was deemed to be an
Still ready
incredible
for a
installment of the
Super Bowl?
franchise, NFL 2K1
Know
took the
exactly
ball
the
and
launch
ran
become
with
a
it.
thriller
It improved
now.
on an already renowned title and delivered something that legitimately rocked the world of sports gaming. NFL 2K1 was far more refined, balanced, and complete than it had any right
Still
to be.
running
It even
out,
introduced
huh?
online gameplay
Still
capabilities
definitely
that
a
allow players to
penalty.
face off with other sports fans over the internet, as well as download team roster updates all throughout the
Wow.
season. We are
That's
still talking
awesome, huh?
about a console game in
Still got a
2000,
big fan
by
of
the way.
the Super
And while the
Bowl
introduction of online
anyways.
playability was huge, fans of the series couldn't overlook the marked improvements in AI, gameplay, and controls. In addition,
Ooh, you
although
know,
the
playing the
graphics looked
games
near
as you...
identical to those of its predecessor, enhancements such as an animated crowd,
Still got
light
a
reflections on
penalty
players'
now.
helmets, and new motion-captured animations gave this
Still got the
installment
best
all
game
the
of
edge
my
it needed
life,
to
huh?
score a touchdown in the eyes of critics and fans alike.
Touchdown.
Sports, yay. Number 2, Perfect Dark, Nintendo 64, 97%. Near the end of the Nintendo 64's 5-year life
That's
cycle,
such a
3
pretty
years
good
after the release
hit
of
on
a
my
little
own.
old game you might have heard of called
Still
GoldenEye
bang on my
007,
own.
developer Rare
Now,
returned
like
to the
James
scene with the
Bond
masterpiece
for
that
some
was
secret agent
Perfect Dark.
sometimes.
Most fans consider this to be a sequel to GoldenEye in everything but the license, due to it building on its predecessor's foundations in every manner
Still got a
possible.
security
More weapons,
camera.
more multiplayer arenas, more levels, more... Well,
Looks
more.
like
There was
it.
more. The AI was markedly improved, and the storyline of the single-player campaign practically glues gamers to the screen.
That's a
That being
thriller.
said, it wasn't a blatant clone of the beloved GoldenEye, it was an evolution. While it ran on an enhanced version of the original Bond
Oh,
engine and
my
admittedly
goodness.
featured a lot in common with
What
the
a
older title,
thriller.
Rare artfully established
Everyone?
a video game that blew players
What a
away with its
thriller.
dedication to delivering the best experience possible. An enhanced
That
polygon
gives
count and
me
crisper
killing
textures
out on my
provided
own.
dramatic cutscenes. The multiplayer mode is downright amazing, and it has more optional content
You
than
have
you can shake a
darn right about
CC-13
that.
at. Turns out that Perfect Dark lived up to its name after all. Number 1, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Dreamcast 97%, and PlayStation 98%. It's not often that a game ties for
Still
the
got
number 1
Tony
spot
Hawk's
with
Pro Skater 2.
itself. Yes,
That's
both
still
versions
like
of Tony
it.
Hawk's Pro Skater 2 scored at the very top
This
of games
is
released
gonna be
in
the
2000.
awesome
A
one I
surprise,
ever
but
saw
a welcome
that.
one. When a platform's days are numbered, we can usually
Barrel
expect developers to
hunt.
throw some disappointing
That-
shovelware on the
that's
table in the hopes that
definitely
the measly scraps
a
will tide us over until the release of something more
skateboard.
substantial in the next
That's a
generation.
critical
However,
hit.
when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 kick-flipped onto the scene, the PS1's mournful swan song was
That's definitely
epically
the
remixed
best
by the likes
days
of
of
Papa
my
Roach
life.
and Anthrax, earning overwhelmingly positive reviews
Wow,
across the board.
possible.
Not only was it the highest scoring game for the year 2000, but this beloved installment of the Tony Hawk's franchise is still renowned as one of the best games of all time, currently sitting comfortably within Metacritic's top 10 video games ever. If the first Pro Skater was tight, this one is damn near vacuum fitted. The levels were grander, the trick catalogue was overflowing with rad stunts, and the gameplay has been polished more than your grandma's silverware.
Well, I think that's it. So, we'll see you tomorrow.